Soundcat like? What was it like to work with them?
With them? They put our record out because Jeremy lived up the street, and we worked in production. We worked with Dazzleteen, who released a number of his own things through Soundcat. So it's actually part of a family of record stores in Pittsburgh. They're not exclusively related, but people who have worked at Soundcat in previous Soundcat stores have record stores across Pittsburgh, and that's, I guess, where we decided we wanted to retail it. They don't really take much of a percentage cut, which is really cool. They've got an entire rack for local bands. They've got cassettes and CDs. And it's really for the people. Like, it's good for the scene because we can't really afford production costs. It's something we're doing just to have fun. And so it's not like we're really looking to make much money off of releasing an album.
It's just kind of being able to get it out there.
Yeah, so I think along the same lines, Soundcat and other places like that, they're not trying to turn a quick buck on you either. That's just part of, they like to be part of that fun process too. Like, they're the vendor for the finish line of this thing that you were just working on. It's not really a Rolling Stones album. You're not trying to break records. Yeah. But yeah, the guys, not just Soundcat, but the guys who own the independent record stores in Pittsburgh are all really good guys. Walk into any of them, they have that local rack. And they have any form of media you want. Ours was on cassette tape and CD. The CDs are all gone. I don't think they're pressing them. But no, but they are continually putting out the cassettes, and Soundcat has all of them there. With a bunch of other names that everyone knows here. And they've got a vinyl local rack, Pet Hospital, bigger bands that have done something on a larger physical scale. But yeah, there's the Bandcamp style of release. A lot of things can be just thrown out into the public on the internet now, and a lot of people aren't collecting tapes or CDs. I know that I only buy like records if I want to buy a copy of an album because it's tangible and big and it's kind of cool to have, but I don't buy a whole ton of those either right now. So I understand why that's sort of suffering, but the fact that Soundcat is right up the street from Howler's and the Tavern, and Mind Cure's up the street from Gooskey's, like, these places strategically put themselves near the places where we play our music. So it's like an easy decision if you are going to make a physical copy to try to vendor them through this place that you probably pass every day. I don't think it would hurt musicians, like bottom tier, like where we are musicians, so much if that went away, but it would hurt music if there weren't independently owned music stores anymore.
It's not.
It doesn't really matter that I can sell my record, but I can go get things that influence me.
Is it kind of like a hopeful, maybe it could influence someone?
Yeah.
Or is it
Yeah.
less?
It's cool that the local rack's always really cheap. I don't think ours sells for more than $1. It's a cassette tape, but they might know one of us or know someone who knows one of us and pick it up. I'm always like, I was completely caught off guard the first time I even saw it in the store. That's how little it matters to musicians in the local area, because they're not making, I don't think I know anyone who's gone back to the store and been like, yo, did we make any money? I'm here to collect. It's more about distributing, maybe having an influence on other people in the area. the scene itself, you got guys like Manny, who everybody knows, infamous Manny, and there might be cynicism about people like that, but he's a good dude for the scene. You still have to have him. And club owners, bar owners, people who will ask people to pay at the door to come in when there's a band that night, even though they know a lot of people are just going to turn around and not buy drinks. That's hurting their business in a way, but that's where that kind of support comes from. It's cool. It's like the personification of its location. Bloomfield residents are all like, they seem to be hip. And everyone raves about Jerry's, but a lot of their inventory is just like copy after copy of the same Cat Stevens record. Like, they've got a bunch of old, used, beat up copies of records everybody's dad had. And Soundcat, you'll find 5 things you want to take home that were released in the last decade, things that you grew up with or things that you've been listening to a lot. And they just got like hard to find things that are pretty new that you don't find many other places in Pittsburgh. But they do have their old records. I got a first pressing of Mind Games by John Lennon, which is sweet. And it wasn't expensive. They don't, and the one time I was trying to buy 2 records and I had $30, and I think like the sticker prices added up to $30, but with tax it was more, and he was just like, dude, go enjoy those records. Like, I don't know, he's just a businessman's businessman. He's not in it to make the money so much. He's there to make people listen to records that he loves, and I think he's buying the records that he loves. He's a young enough guy, but he's got such a diverse collection. I think it's really cool. He's that dude who, whose iPod you want on the road trip, because he has everything that you could spring into your mind. Like, I really want to listen to Steely Dan right now for no reason, even though we were just listening to Cursive. It's like, that's a 180, but I have both. And it's a small enough store, like, it's pretty amazing that he has such a variety. I feel like within our lifetimes, Bloomfield had sort of a bad reputation. Think of like Uptown right now. A lot of artists are moving in, but it's still a little bit run down. I think the way my parents talked about it and when we'd go through there, Bloomfield was like that at one time, and I think it's starting to finally cultivate that it's prospering because of all the artists that moved in there and loved it enough and opened startups and their own businesses, and like they've got their studios there. There's enough money coming through there. My dad and I spent so much time together out that way. We drop her off, go to Allegheny Cemetery, and he showed me the Pleasure Bar, and so I sort of grew up in hanging out in Bloomfield with him and liking that. And then when I left school and started playing music, Bloomfield was like, had stopped being like a trouble area, and it was Little Italy, and there were all these hipsters there, and there was so much music happening. Bloomfield Tavern, Howlers, Soundcat, selling like all the best records, and it was because these artists had moved in and just been a breath of life, put their money into it, built their businesses there. And now it's just churches. They've got an awesome fair every year. Awesome businesses. Right down the street was Garfield. Like, it's just all artist stuff, and that's sort of what they eat, sleep, breathe. And it's really cool, and I think Soundcat personifies that sort of like cutting edge, what's cool thing. That's how he runs his business, because that's who he's selling it to. It's who's in his neighborhood, and I think that's why he put it there. That's why he likes to be there. So yeah, it's a revamped neighborhood, and it's probably my favorite place in Pittsburgh to hang out / play music. Yeah. They've got some marvelous businesses, and the Italian culture was always there, I think. But besides the food, yeah, it's mostly just really cool cultural things. Everything is just sort of blossoming there right now, and it's still on the up, I think.
But maybe it.
Yeah, I think it's good enough for now.